Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Have you ever come to the conclusion whenever you're listening to Christians or Muslims or anybody out there that has a God belief that they always seem to be describing themselves, their own personality whenever they give their attributes and personalities to their God character? Let me give you an example. Whenever Jesus Freak 777 describes his particular version of God, his God approves of murder. His God approves of slavery. His God is petty. His God does not know the first thing about righteousness or decency or justice. But he's also the same guy that says that if he was commanded to or declared to go into a city and kill men, women, and children, he would do it. All he needs is to be justified. All he needs to be is told to do so, and he wouldn't hesitate. And most of the time, whenever he comments on such things, he doesn't show any kind of remorse or compassion. He doesn't even give the appearance of feeling sad about the idea of going into people's homes and smashing innocent people to death, including their children. It's interesting when you think about it. When Venom Fang, the old Venom Fang, Sean, as well as his predecessor, Gear Up, describe their God, they describe God as a sociopath. They describe God as a character that people can't understand very well, that he's misunderstood, that we can't see the big picture. Can you not tell whenever you're listening to them that they're describing themselves? They're basically saying that they can't articulate their own words. They're basically saying that they're misunderstood. They're basically saying that there's a method to their madness, but they just don't know how to make it possible for you to understand. So instead of taking responsibility for not being able to articulate their own arguments, they make it to where their God blames you, therefore they blame you as well, and hold you responsible for not being able to understand or know what the fuck they're talking about. When Pastor George or Yoke Up describe their version of God, their God is easily angered. Their God is justified in torturing people and aggravating people. Anybody who's ever watched a Yoke Up video or Pastor George realize that they're some of the most aggravating YouTubers you could ever watch. Full of themselves and also full of shit, of course. And you listen to these videos and you listen to their arrogance and their pride, and one has to ask themselves while even watching these fucking videos, where do they come off with this pride and ego? There's nothing within the visual that you're seeing nor hearing that would move you to think that either one of these assholes are educated enough to even pretend as though they know what the fuck they're talking about or what they're trying to teach. And like most Christians, they don't even read their Bible. And I think that's one of the reasons why it is Christians get so goddamn freaked out whenever you show them what the Bible actually says, because they've never read it. Most of them, whenever they join religion, they don't even study their Bible. They don't even study the history before they jump into it. They usually do it for a social aspect or because they were fucking trained like monkeys since the day that they came out of the womb to be a part of this religion. A normal, reasonable, intelligent human being, as far as normal can go, would learn as much about a group or gang or fucking cult before getting into it. But a weak-minded person won't question, won't ask why they should be a part of this. They just simply hear a couple things that they like, and voila, they jump on the train. And religion has a tendency to make people who are absolutely stupid, worthless fuck-ups out there, who are not going anywhere in life, it makes them feel like somehow they're important. Somehow they're relevant. You'll even hear Sister Sunshine say, without God, I have no purpose. I have no meaning. All I am is compost. I'm just dirt. Of course, this is what she believes she came from. And I find it funny to listen to her as well as other Christians actually crack jokes about evolution, going, oh, my ancestors weren't monkeys. What, you think that your uncle and your grandma and all this were monkeys? Well, you may think that that sounds silly, even though with the abundance of fossils and fucking evidence out there, ladies and gentlemen, that that's hilarious. But Christians have no evidence whatsoever to claim that we come from God's snot blown into dirt. I think that if I were to ever feel the need or get a wild hair up my ass to invent my own God, I would also describe it and invent in my head exactly the kind of God that I would want to follow. And notice I always bring up Hercules whenever I'm doing my videos and stuff, whenever I'm giving comparisons. Hercules was cool. He was like a rock star, at least the Kevin Sorbo version. I'm not talking about the old ancient mythology. You know, the guy that walks around, he's handsome, he's good looking, probably has a fucking dick the size of a goddamn moose horn. He gets the ladies, he sits there and kills fucking hydras. He can lift Castle Grayskull and throw it across the fucking sky like it's an ant farm. The guy is unbelievable. He's incredibly awesome and shit in every way, mentally as well as physically. That would be the type of God that I would invent. Something that's powerful, something that's intelligent, something that people respect, but also a guy who gets shit done. A guy who actually fucking stands up for justice and righteousness and honesty and trust. All these things are fucking benefactors in what I believe to be good. Of course, if I were to be realistic in my approach towards inventing a God, I would probably have to go the George Carlin route and say it would have to be a man, because a man would fuck and destroy everything around him. Men will always find a reason to have wars and destroy and manipulate and take advantage of one another. But a woman wants to create, a woman wants to nurture, a woman wants to take care of her children. Of course, realistically, in reality, if we look at the world around us and our environment, this couldn't possibly be done by a man or a woman. It would have to be done by a sadistic, tyrannical fucking coward who finds no interest whatsoever, even in the smallest things, such as infants and animals on the planet. We can clearly see by the way the universe is, we can see by the way the environment is, that it is not suitable for mankind. And I know some of you are saying, well, I live just fine in my environment. You live just fine because of all the fucking thousands and thousands of years that men have been around, suffering through nature and suffering through fights and battles and shit to get to the point where now you can walk down the road with your fucking iPod, and whenever it gets cold you can throw on a coat or go home and close your door and turn on your central heating. But imagine what it was like to go to get your fucking teeth removed a couple thousand years ago, when the fucking last thing anybody ever knew about was a dentist. The environment is not suitable for humanity, and it's definitely not suitable for animal, which is one of the reasons why it is we evolve and we deal with the variables before us. If you don't mind me going off on a tangent a little bit, I would also like to say that any time you get ready to be a part of some kind of group or cult or gang or whatever the case might be that involves several people, whenever it gets to a point where people tell you that you shouldn't be questioning, you shouldn't be learning, you should close your eyes and cover your ears and all this, this should be the first indication. A huge alert should go off in your head telling you that something's wrong. You see, ladies and gentlemen, as far as I'm concerned, whenever it comes to the concept of love, whenever it comes to actually caring about someone or something, wouldn't you want to get to know the individual? Wouldn't you want to get to know the partner? Wouldn't you want to know the companion? Wouldn't you want to know the God? Wouldn't you want to question the God, and wouldn't the God be willing and happy to contend with a fucking finite human being wanting to know things, wanting to have knowledge and understanding? Wouldn't a caring being want to be able to teach and to be able to let you know what the fucking deal is, what the scoop is? To think that there would be a God that created all things and created a brain inside your head just so you could fucking turn it off and sit in front of a book that you never read and listen to a preacher, just the parts you like, that you can use on other individuals in order to feel superior for yourself. I think that's pretty fucking stagnant, if you ask me. The next time you run into one of these Christians who describe God as a flower-sniffing, lovable character that cuddles with you at night and keeps you warm and he's there with you and stuff so you're not alone, just remember what I told you. Just listen to what they say. They're describing themselves. If they are a person who describes their God as murdering and killing, a God who knows nothing of good or righteousness or justice, they are also describing themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, just test it out. Test out the theory on any religious person you meet. It'll be kind of scary whenever you hear some of the fanatics out there and the fundamentalists, because as they describe their God, they describe themselves, and they also are describing what they're capable of as they go along. They are basically inventing an anthropomorphic superhero that resembles all their personality, but all the things that they lack as a human being, they restrain and give strength to, they think. Alright, peace out, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed the video. I think you'll find my theory to be interesting as well as accurate.